Okay, cool. So now we should be able to try this, but we're going to run into an issue. So let's observe that issue. So I'm going to actually, I don't remember if I even started my server since I did TypeScript. So I don't know if this is going to work. Let's do what is it? Oh yeah, node. I think I gave it a command, didn't I? Dev. Yeah, there it was. It was dev. So let's do npm run dev. Oh, it worked. You just gotta love when it works. So we got that. And then now what I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce you to a really cool VS Code plugin so we don't have to use the browser anymore. If you're using VS Code, that is. If you're not, what are you using? And let me know why, because maybe it's better. I don't know. But VS Code plugin, it's called Thunder Client. Highly recommend downloading it. In fact, I'm encouraging you to download it for this course. I will be using it exclusively to test out our API calls. Thunder Client is just like any other HTTP GUI. It's just a place where you can go test out API calls. We can only go so far in the browser because the browser only allows you to do GET requests when you hit enter in the URL. What if you don't do a put or a delete or a post or a patch? You can't. You gotta write JavaScript for that. Who wants to write JavaScript for that? We should be able to click on things. Okay, Thunder Client lets us click on things. So I'm gonna go in here. I'm going to, you can make a new request. I'm gonna do a GET request to my local host, my port, /API/product. Okay, I got some other stuff in here. Don't worry about this. We'll get to that later. I don't want anything in the body because it's a GET request. I'm not sending anything. And I'm going to run this, but we're going to run into a problem. So make sure your server's on. I'm going to hit that. So right now, you can see that it just says processing, processing, processing. Okay, this should not happen. Okay, it's not Thunder Client that's broken. It's my API. My API is doing what's called hanging. It's the equivalent of you trying to call someone and they just don't pick up. Or no, actually, I think it's more like they did pick up, but then they didn't say anything. They just you could just hear them breathing on the phone, but they don't actually say anything. And then eventually you get tired of it and you hang up. That's what's happening right now. So our server picked up, it's like, yo, I got you. And then it just continued to just mouth breathe on the phone like forever. And then you couldn't actually understand what they were saying. So we need to fix that. So what I'm gonna do is just go into our code. Oh, okay, there we go. I forgot this thing was in here. And for the product one, I'm just gonna put something in here. I'm gonna say request response. And I'm just gonna say response.json. Just gonna put a message in here. Hello, like that. You can send back whatever you want. I'm just gonna send back something here for the GET on the product. I'm gonna send back hello. I'm gonna hit save. This thing isn't auto restarting, so I'm gonna have to stop it and start it again. I'm gonna go back into Thunder Client and then now go to issue the request, and then you can see immediately I got something back. Status 200, 19 bytes, 15 milliseconds. So our API route is working. We can go to /API/product and it works. You try to go somewhere else, like if we try to do a post here, this is gonna hang, we don't have anything, right? You try to do a delete, that's gonna hang, we don't have anything. And we'll fix that. We'll get to that in a minute. But we got the routes. Any questions on that?
I mean, these are very generic operations, like the CRUD. Do we have any scaffolding option where we say this is a product and now generate all the routes?
Yeah, so you talk about like Rails or something?
Yes.
Where you can kind of just generate all the stuff?
Okay.
Yeah, there is nothing built into Node or Express that allows you to generate anything. However, I can't remember if it was V2 or V3. I did write, in that version, I think I did generate the routes automatically based off like a configuration file. So you could do it yourself. There's also CLIs and tools that try to simulate what Rails did. There was one that was called Sails a long time ago. I think it's dead now. That was trying to be like Rails for Express, and it kind of did that. But there's also really good CLIs and stuff that will just generate it based off of a Mongo model or a Postgres model, like, or it'll literally connect to your database. I'm like, oh, I see all the stuff in your database. Here are the routes, and it'll do that. But there's nothing baked into Node that does that. And in fact, that's the theme of Node. It's like it actually doesn't have anything because it just relies on the community, which can be good or bad if the community, it depends on how well the community behaves.
Is the reason why we had to restart our server because TypeScript has to compile?
It's a good question. So the reason we had to restart our server is because we're not watching for any changes. TS Node, or even Node in general, by default don't watch for changes. So you can hit save and nothing's gonna happen. We're so used to like Next.js and things like that like we expect that to happen. But let me tell you, it was 2000, I don't know, between 2013 to 2016, 15, you didn't get auto reload. Like that was brand new. Like you just had to do it yourself. But there's definitely a tool we can use. I think NodeMon is probably the best tool that allows you to like restart your server. You can hook it up with TypeScript. I just didn't want to get caught up with that. So I decided to, actually I had it, but I took it out. It was like, nah, I think this is too much. But yeah, you just need something that watches your files and then triggers a command when they change. So good question. Okay, but yeah, so we have that. Our stuff is hanging now because we don't have any handlers. A server should never hang. That is a very, very bad thing. Yeah, you just don't want that happening. A server also cannot respond twice. So you cannot respond twice to the same request. If you do, that will cause an error. Just like you cannot say bye, hang up, and then pick up the phone and say bye again. It doesn't work that way. Like once you say bye, it's done. Okay, so remember those two things. You can't respond twice, and you should always respond once. Otherwise, bad things will happen, okay? At least for HTTP. You start getting into WebSockets, it's different. But for this protocol, yes. All right. Now that we got all that hooked up, basically what we want to do is start getting ready for actually creating out the flow of hitting this route, triggering some route handler, and then it talking to the database. But before we do that, we got to understand a new concept called middleware.